Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to make a responsive portfolio in Flutter, the one that I have open on my screen. Now, this portfolio is responsive, so if I'll go full screen, you'll see like it will take up the whole space on the screen. Uh, there is a gradient in the background, and this app is completely deployed. So the portfolio is available on the web, so you can just share this link with anyone and they can access it on their devices themselves. We would be looking at how to build this complete portfolio, how to deploy it, and we'll just get started with that. So let me just quickly go over the features of this portfolio. As you can see, there is an app bar, there's a gradient in the background, you have your profile picture, and it's standing out from the rest of the portfolio. It looks very pretty. You can scroll up and down. There is your name, your username that you can add, and two buttons where you can put in your resume. So if you're sharing this with anyone, you can send them your resume. This could be put up on a drive, and that way they would be able to view this. There's an option to contact, where you can maybe include an option to send you an email, and it will open up, it will launch this as an option to send out a message. Then there is the experience section where you can include your previous experience, a small detail about you, some information such as I am a content creator. There is a side panel that includes your location, the website, portfolio link, and your email. And there are projects that you can put up on this portfolio. So you can view a project. This would link out to a GitHub project, and you can send this portfolio to anyone, any recruiter, and they would love it. And this portfolio is completely made in Flutter. I haven't removed the default icon so that you can see it's a Flutter web app. You can even install it as with any Flutter web app. And we'll just get started with the video, quickly dive right in. The first step is to go over to this URL that I have put in the description. It's the Flutter Portfolio repository under my profile on GitHub. And what you have to do here is, first of all, fork the project. So you have to create a copy of the project for your account on GitHub. You can click on the fork button. It should ask you what account you have to use, the name of the repository you want it to be, and the description. And you can create a fork. Since I am already on my account, I wouldn't do that. But the next step is to get the code files on your system. So you can click on the code button once you have your fork ready. It would appear somewhat similar. You can click on code, and now you can clone the repository. You can either use the URL or the GitHub CLI. I prefer to use GitHub Desktop. So I'll click on open with GitHub Desktop, and you might have to get the GitHub Desktop application for your system. But after you do that, you can just clone, and it would create a local copy of this project for you. So now you would have the option to open it in a code editor of your choice. I would go with Visual Studio Code. Once you have the project, the first step is to get the packages. You can go down to pubspec.yaml and click on download packages, or run the flutter pub-get command from the terminal. This should take some time. It would get all the required files for you. Once done, all the errors should go away, and now you can see like this is a normal Flutter project. It has the lib folder which has all the code in it. Now I can go down to main.dart, and I can select my emulator. I would use Chrome Web for this web application and hit run. While this application loads up, I will come back to my directory and I'll just walk you around. So there is a constants folder. It has some constants in it, like some colors and text styles. You don't have to worry about that. There is a models folder and a screens folder, which basically works on the UI side of things. Now I have my project running, but there is also this data folder that would be the highlight of this video. So if I just bring out the running instance of my application here, I can minimize it just a bit so my code is also visible alongside. And now you can see like this is the application that was hosted on GitHub, and that was in the introduction of this video. Now inside this data folder, what we can do is we can modify it to our needs. Now this Flutter project is meant to be a template so that everyone can use it. If you are experienced Flutter developer, this wouldn't be difficult to take up. You can make your changes and deploy the application for your use case. But if you are completely new to Flutter, all you have to do is get the project from GitHub, clone it to your system. Once you have the clone, open the data.dart file inside the project, and now you can come down here and you can make some changes. So the first two lines that we have here are the colors that we have using in this background gradient. So you can change it to maybe some other color like uh, purple, and after you save the file, you would see like the changes would be made right here. Like once you hit Ctrl+S, you would see the changes appear here. There is the small purple color here appear, and now the gradient has changed. You can make modifications, like you can change the name variable to your name, and that should update inside the application. You can update the username, and that should update the username. Now you can get your resume link, so put up your resume on Google Drive and get the share link from there and paste it here. So when you click on this view resume button, it should open your resume instead of opening up mine. You can change the contact email to your own email, that way you would be the one getting it, and make other changes, such as to the description you can write something else like and the changes would appear inside this application. So you do get the gist, right? This all the changes are here for you to make. Whatever changes you make to this data.dart file would be reflected inside the application. You can even update the location to wherever you are, and this would make these changes. Also, the last important thing is this project section. So you might want to also add projects of your own. What you can do is you can look at this model that I have created. So there would be project, and it would have its name, description, and the link associated with it. So you can go down inside this list and add a new project, and it would ask you to put in name and description. So let us say I'll put in Flutter Portfolio, put in a description. I'll type in a template for portfolio and come back to GitHub and copy the link from here and paste it here. So once I do that, you would see like just under the three projects, Shades, Fiasco, and Fiasco repeated again, you would see a Flutter Portfolio project appear here, which would have the description that we just put in. And when you click on the view project, it should take us to the Flutter Portfolio GitHub repository. So that is how easily you can modify this template to be your own. There is the string image path, which would let you add your own image here instead of mine. So what you can do is we can search for a profile image and get one. So you can use image of your own. For this demonstration, I'll use an image from the web. I can click on save image as and save this file to my system. Now you can drag and drop this file inside this images folder in the project. Now I would recommend having a square image like I have one here. This one isn't a square, but we'll just go ahead and use it. If you're familiar with Flutter, you would know like we need to import assets. There is a line already added. All you have to do is go back to this data.dart folder and replace this image path with the name of your image. So we have downloaded as download.jpg. So I'll just put in download here and save this file, and once I like hot restart, it should work fine. So you'll see like the image, the new image appear here, and that way you can change the profile image that is there. So we have learned how to do everything. Now you can change this image, you can change the background gradient, the name, the username, put in your own links here and the email address. You can update this experience and their description inside about me, make all these changes and add the projects. With that done, we are ready to host this project on Firebase, and let us see how to do just that. So let's get started by going over to firebase.google.com. and then open up the console and click on create a new project. So it would ask you for a project name. I'll go ahead with portfolio, but the important thing to remember here is that the project ID should be unique, because this would later become your web app URL. So I'll give it something unique like portfolio dash Aditya, or Aditya Thakur, and then save this. So this will be a unique identifier, and I can also update my project name to be same as that project ID that we just put in. So when I'm done, I can click on continue. It would ask me for a Google Analytics for your project. I can select the default account for Firebase and create project. When the project is ready, we can go over to the web app. Now we don't need the Flutter setup, because that includes doing all of the Flutter side of things, but we just need the hosting. So I'll set up hosting for this app and click on next. I've checked it out on a new project, like adding Firebase, is it unnecessary or not. We can click on next for now. What we want to do is have the Firebase CLI. So if you don't have it, you can get it. And I'll go ahead, copy the Firebase init command and type it in my console. Now I need to go down to hosting, press the space bar to select hosting and use an existing project. So I'll use the project that we have just created, which would be portfolio Aditya Thakur. And what do you want to have as the directory? I can type in build/web. Now it would ask me like, do you want to configure it as a single app? I'll do no. I can do no for automatic deploys, and then move on to Flutter build web. They should build the project for me. It will take some time. Once it's done, can copy the Firebase deploy command and put it in. So with that done, we'll have a URL for our hosted portfolio app. Flutter portfolio on Firebase. You can share this link forward. You can send this link to anyone for them to view your portfolio, and it would be a nice addition to your overall profile as a Flutter developer, a portfolio made completely in Flutter. There are some next steps that you can do. So let us say you want to change this favy icon. So you can go down to the web folder and you can update the icons here. Right now they use the default Flutter logo, and you can change this to a favy icon. You can change this to an icon of your own, maybe your own image, and that way that would be visible on the Flutter whenever you share this link. You can also come down to index.html and update the meta description here. So you can maybe call this Aditya's portfolio. In Flutter, and that way whenever you send this link forward or wherever this link is embeddable, this description would appear there. You can also change the title to Aditya's portfolio here and save this file. You might have to redeploy this for these changes to be visible on your already deployed application. If you were to the next modification could be removing this hashtag from the URL of your Flutter web application. So there is a package for this that you can look up and remove this hashtag symbol from the path here. And that way you would just have portfolio aditya.thakur.web app to share forward. Now if you were able, so Now these are changes for later. Also, on important note, if you run into some issues, you can always create a issue on this Flutter repository. So you can click on new issue and open a new issue. If you have some changes you would like to make, you can always create a new pull request. I would encourage that. This is an open source project and would love to have your feedback on that. If you were able to build your own portfolio using this template, or if you were able to follow along till here, please do comment down your hosted web app link in the comment section. I would love to see what all you have built, and I would also be making a complete tutorial on this whole portfolio, like from breakdown, like from step by step how I went from creating the UI to creating all this data that made it somewhat self-sufficient, and I would drop a tutorial on that soon. But thank you so much for watching, and please do subscribe the channel, leave a comment maybe, and I would see you in the next video. Thank you so much.